on average, artists with us, they earn around 40% more.
Anyone can be an A&R now. They could log into an A&R dashboard, they could look at the data that suggests that this artist is the next one to blow, and they could sign them. But what that means is that taste is the moat.
We had a massive scale, but we didn't have a brand or an audience that we own yet. And so when Facebook changed the algorithm, all that traffic disappeared.
Amazing. Max, thanks for joining us. I walked into the waiting area outside and you were busy hustling on a call as always. I guess the typical founder life. So how's that going for you?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. Being a founder is fun. Every day something new is happening. It's a roller coaster. One day you think you are the king of the universe. The day after, everything is going to shit. So it's a roller coaster, but it's you like the journey, right? So yeah. we're not into this for the end goal. Of course, eventually there's going to be an end goal, but really we enjoy the journey, and I still enjoy it. I've done it a few times now, and I don't see myself doing anything else. So yeah, pretty happy. And
I think when I look at your CV, if you like, I don't just see music in there. I see music as a theme, I think, being a drummer, which I know you've talked about publicly, and obviously now with GoToBeat. But you've done some incredibly diverse things. I think I read about you owning a restaurant, I think a kayaking, tourism business, obviously the media company that had huge success, and then there's a bit of a story behind that journey too. So what do you think is it about, whether we call it entrepreneurship or wanting to be autonomous or have an impact, that you think sort of draws you into this world of masochism in a way?
I think I had a very diverse journey. I think ultimately founders want to build things, whether it's a music business, a restaurant, a media company, or whatever else. We are fired up by the desire of building things, right? And that's beautiful because, you don't get to build things every day in a normal life. Sometimes you just looking, you go to your work, you do what you need to do, and then you go home, you carry on with your life. Which nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely a total legitimate life, but we have this desire, or at least I have this desire, to leave a mark. And there is multiple ways of leaving marks. You can be a philanthropist, you can help people, and probably they're much more impactful than building a company. But the way I found for me to work was this. So I want to leave a mark by building things that matter and try to do what I do best, which is gathering people together in a company, building the company, and achieve a mission or achieve something with that company. So I've done it with the media business at first. We started that with 4 friends. It was 4 of us, and we ended up almost with 100 employees. So that was a good journey. The restaurant is 3 restaurants now in Venice. We also have a little hotel as well.
Wow.
So that hospitality business is growing. I'm still partner in that business, but I'm not really operationally involved anymore. But yeah, and then of course I was a drummer in the past. I was playing in a band, which is kind of building a company in a way. I was organizing a little festival in Italy. So I've always been building things. Whether I've done it successfully or not, that's a whole different conversations, but at least I try to build things. Yeah.
And what I'm fascinated by is this media business.
Yeah.
I think I read that you had 100 million monthly visitors on the platform.
Yeah.
And then, something changed and there was a downfall within the business, and we went on in your separate ways, and we can touch on that briefly. But, what amazes me is that there are businesses out there that can have this trajectory and this somewhat stability, I guess, 100 employees, 100 million users, blah, blah, blah. But yet things can change so quickly, and there can be a downfall. And I think that uncertainty is something that is quite hard to grapple with. I mean, how have you grappled with that uncertainty, is that something that I guess keeps you motivated and keeps you, now you've had that experience of the up and the down, is that what keeps you driving forward every day to make sure that doesn't happen again? Or
yeah, I think ultimately when you're a founder building things, you're never satisfied and you're never too sure about where you are in the journey. And I think that that feeling of, hey, everything could go wrong very quickly, of course, maybe sometimes doesn't help you sleep well at night, but it is positive because, it humbles you, that even if you have this successful company or whatever, things could go wrong. So you need to always learn new things. You always need to listen to your customers. You always need to, think about how to make your service better, because everything could go wrong very, very quickly anytime.
Yeah.
And with that being a business, we were the main problem with that business is that we reached a massive scale. I always say back in the days there was this ranking made by Amazon called Amazon Alexa ranking. With the biggest website in the world in terms of traffic, and at the peak we reached number 45 in the world. So it was a massive business in terms of reach, but it was built on someone else's platform. Like 70%, if not more, of our traffic was coming from Facebook. So when Facebook changed the algorithm, we lost all the traffic. We had a massive scale, but we didn't have a brand or an audience that we own yet. And so when Facebook changed the algorithm, all that traffic disappeared, and we didn't have a way to reach our customers anymore. And ultimately, we were not ready to find a different way. We'd never been able to recover from that point, which led to laying off a lot of people, which was a very painful process to go through, because of course some of the people we had to lay off were incredible people. But in the course of a few months, we had to downscale to, I don't remember, but I think it was 30 people. So it was more than 50% of the company that we had to let go. But ultimately, we were built on someone else's platform, and we were not really the owner of our audience. So that was a big lesson that we have learned. But we learn new lessons every day, right? Yeah. So you're never too sure about what you're doing. Also, that time, I was a little bit younger. I was 26 when that happened. So the reality is that I didn't know what I was doing.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So you always learn. That was the lesson at that time. I'm sure something else might happen again. Now with another company, the important thing is to be sure that. To be aware that things could go wrong, and be ready for that, and try to minimize the risk and really have that defensibility to make your business strong.
Well, that is a beautiful segue, actually, I think, which I'm going to mention and then park because I want to ask one more question. But the segue is that you mentioned there is around renting versus owning your audience.
Yeah.
And obviously now with GoToBeat and working with artists and the importance of owning an audience such that you can get them to come to your show and your tour is very prevalent and relevant to what you're doing. But I wanted to just park that and ask you a question around your ability to manage those stressful situations. And a word that is often used in the business world is around like balance, and does that even exist? Is that a thing? But I wanted to ask you how you manage I guess the life you have outside of work and balancing family life with also the stresses and strains and the ups and downs of building a business over a long period of time, because you've done it across multiple businesses. You've also got multiple projects running now, which, for someone who's running a business full time and knows what that takes, I think to have other things going on as well is like, that's a tough thing. But how do you manage all of that and stay present and, able to I guess just even like communicate and have healthy relationships and things like that?
Yeah, no, that is tough. I haven't completely learned how to do that. If I have to be honest, I also think that essentially, if you want to do all the things we're doing as founders, you can't really think about having a balanced life.
Yeah.
Like if you want to achieve great success, you really need to have an unbalanced life. That's the reality of it. I'm probably old-fashioned here, but all the successful entrepreneurs I've seen, all the successful stories, in a way or another, they have a very unbalanced life, which doesn't mean that they don't have a family or they are, bad people, they only work 24 hours a day or they stay at the office non-stop all day. But essentially, they have an extreme focus and dedication to one thing, which is their company that they're building, because they want to make it successful. They want to make it big. They want to have an impact in the world, in society. So having a balance is not really my thing. I'm trying to be unbalanced all the times, but that also means that also when I'm with my family, I'm trying to be unbalanced, meaning I don't look at my phone. I'm like 100% with them. I go pick up my daughter at nursery every day, and I have like an hour and a half, 2 hours before she goes to sleep. That moment is unbalanced for my daughter. Then she goes to sleep. I have a little bit of time for my partner, and that's unbalanced for my partner. And then we go back to work. I'm also lucky that I have a partner that also has a very, successful and good career, and we are very aligned in how we think about life. So if sometimes we need to work late together to catch up on emails or work, it's not a problem. Of course, we would like not to do it every single night, but yesterday we were together until midnight sending emails, and that's fine. So you need to find people that are aligned with you, and also you need to understand that every moment of your life is going to be unbalanced.
Yeah.
That's how I try to see things. Is it the best way? I don't know. That's how it's working for me so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer. And also, an observation that people close to me have made about me is that I work all the time, but I never really see that because I enjoy it so much. It doesn't even feel like work.
True. That's also true. Yeah.
It feels like a passion or a hobby, or to your point, I'm making an impact. And I think when it feels like that, it doesn't feel like a burden and something that's taking away from your ability to be, a good individual. It's something that perhaps is like contributing to that in a way. So I really do see that. Thank you for sharing. And then let's transition into GoToBeat, because this is what you're working on right now, and it's had tremendous success. I was reading about you sold 30,000 tickets a few years ago, and then in a year it 5x, I think it was, to 150,000 tickets sold. So fantastic trajectory. How did you start GoToBeat? What was the thing that allowed you to then go and bring this business to life?
Yeah. It's going to be 500,000 tickets this year, so we are growing even further. The reason why I started GoToBeat is because, of course, there is a passion element. Yeah. Like we said, I'm a drummer. I was organizing this festival in Italy, so I knew about the music industry, although I was not really part of the music industry in the sense that I never worked in a music company or anything like that before. But there was that passion. And I think that's important because, as we said before, our life is very unbalanced. You don't have to feel like you're working, and passion plays a big part in it. Although I also think the founders can very much abstract things. And so at the same time, if you're building a company to the point we were making before, whether it's a media business, a music company, or a restaurant, you're building, and that's what you like to do. But yeah, there is that passion element. And then, when you start a business, you also want to make sure that the business can be successful. So you look at the market, you look at, why there's no something in that market that solves the problem that you want to solve, and understand if the market is also big enough for that solution to reach a certain scale, to make an impact. And then if the answer is yes, you go for it. So I look at how things were run in the music business, in the live segment in particular. I saw a lot of inefficiencies. I saw a lot of artists being underpaid. So a lot of venues being empty. I had this experience and knowledge of technology as well on the other end. I've always been like a coder essentially, although I'm not really a very good developer anymore. But I was always hacking things and coding and building software well before AI came into our life. And so I had the knowledge of technology. I was like, okay, there is a possibility here to leverage technology to make an impact and do something good for artists. GoToBeat has always been an artist-first company. We want to do good for artists, pay them more, put them in front of the right audience, help them to grow into bigger rooms. That's always what drives us every day. And artists recognize it. So it's been a big reason why the company has grown. Artists see that we care, that we're there to do something good for them, and they come on board. We went through different phases. I don't know if you know, but the very, very first version of GoToBeat, the first iteration, was a subscription for live music. So customer was subscribing. We were organizing shows, and customer was subscribing a monthly fee to come to all of our shows, which in principle is a good idea. But then we quickly realized that the model didn't work from an economic point of view, but also people don't want to go to too many shows all the time. So, you're really competing with Netflix or other things and it's expensive to go to a show every single time. So really, people just don't want to pay a subscription to go to an event. They just want to pay a ticket to see the artist that they like, and that's it. So we went through various iterations, but the mission was always the same. How can we make the live market better to help artists make more money and build sustainable careers thanks to their live performances? So that's how we started. And there was also a challenging time because COVID happened, and really GoToBeat started after COVID, but the first iterations were during COVID as well. So not exactly the best moment to start the live music business. But we're still here, so we're growing. So
and I remember when we first met, actually, which was I think at one of the events that we did together. I think it was I forgot the name now. Cadiata, I think it was Cadiata, or someone like that. At one of the shows, and I remember meeting you and being immediately sort of drawn to your energy. And also, I remember the team saying that this was the easiest event that they've ever had to run. They were like, we need to do this again because GoToBeat made it so simple for us to execute. So, my question to you is, you've now gone through various iterations. What is it you've landed on now, you think, in terms of technology or approach? And maybe you don't want to give away all your sort of secrets.
No, but there's no secrets. I always say that ideas or secrets are overrated, right? Like you need to execute and do things. So I could give away everything and still you will need to work hard to get where we are. So where we landed is that GoToBeat is really leveraging technology, AI, but data, and tech as a whole to do two major things. The first one is predict the demand of an artist. So we can say with confidence, this artist is going to be able to sell X many tickets in London or in Manchester or in Amsterdam. We work all across Europe now. We do 16 different European countries. And we do more than 1,000 shows every year. So with confidence, we can say, it can sell this venue and that's the right venue for the artist. And then on the other end, we streamline all of the operations that are necessary to deliver a show, which means contacting the artist, contacting the venue, running marketing campaigns, advancing, making sure all the production and the right equipment is at the venue. All of these tasks that usually a promoter does manually by sending emails, phone calls and all, we have automated them, or we are automating them as much as possible to speed up operations. And so that's why we're able to produce 1,000 shows with a team of 20 people, which is 20x more efficient than a traditional concert promoter. I always do the comparison with Live Nation. They employ 17,000 people, and they organize 54,000 concerts, right? So it's 3 concerts per employee. We do 1,000 concerts with 20 people. So that's really where we landed. And the reason this is exciting is because it allows us to really improve the economics of a show, reduce the costs, but also, thanks to the data, sell more tickets and make sure all events sell out, so then the artists can make more money. We also, as a business, have better outcomes of those shows, and we can more confidently scale and take bets and really turn what is usually considered an unscalable business, organizing shows in real life, turning it into something more scalable.
That's fantastic. And the venue occupancy piece is very interesting, I think, being able to predict the number of tickets that you'll sell, because I was reading about, I think the average venue occupancy for a traditional promoter is around 40%, 42%. And you guys are obviously able to sort of strip out that stat almost and say, we're going to make sure you're partnered with the right venues at the right time. Yeah. And so how powerful or how accurate is that technology, and how powerful has that specific piece been in enabling you to, I guess, support the right types of venues as well as the right types of artists?
Yeah, it is extremely accurate. It depends on the type of events, the type of genre of music, the size of events as well. So we are more accurate in certain niches. For example, alternative rap scene has been a particularly strong niche for us. We are essentially 100% accurate in that scene. We are more accurate on larger scale events. Larger scale events for us means more than 700-800 capacity, 1,000 capacity plus. We do focus on the market that goes from 300 to 400 capacity venues up to 10,000 capacity venues. Okay. So that's the market where we operate. So larger shows, of course, we have more data, we can predict them better, but we're becoming better and better predicting the smaller shows as well. We do also do a lot of grassroots shows as well, because it's part of us. That's how we started. Those 100, 150 capacity rooms, and also because the density of talent there is still incredible, and those are the artists that eventually they're going to become the next headliner. So we want to keep nurturing that relationship, although it is true in that segment we might be a little bit less accurate. But the good thing about the business is that every time we organize a show, we become better at predicting the next one, because GoToBeat is a ticketing platform as well. So we're not only organizing the show, we also sell the tickets. So back to the point we made earlier about building a business on somebody else's platform, we have our platform. So we own the data, we own the relationship with the artist, we own the relationship with the customer, we own the P&L of a show. So every time we produce a show, we learn from that show, that the system, the model, the algorithm learns from that show, so we become better at doing the next one. And we see that becoming better and better every time. And it's true for live music. It's true also for a lot of other forms of entertainment where we are entering. We're doing more and more comedy nights now, for example. We're doing more and more club nights as well. We do a lot of events with TV personalities or social media personalities. They come to a theater and they do an interview. We do live podcasts as well on stage and in certain venues. So every time there is data to analyze and an audience to identify, we are becoming the best player, the best service to identify that and monetize it with a live show.
That's fantastic. And I think for artists that are listening, or podcasters, comedians, like you've just said, is what are the things that they should be doing when they think about building their audience that you guys are looking at to determine whether they're, I guess, ready to sell out a 200 cap or 500 cap venue? Is it about audience size on socials? Is it about the engagement, the music audience? What is it?
I think the beautiful thing here, and it is extremely true for our business as well, is that the quality of the art, so the quality of the music, the quality of the comedy show, it's really what matters the most, which I understand is a little bit of a annoying answer to give, because every artist thinks their music is the best music in the world, and maybe it is, but ultimately all the big successes I've seen, they go down to very high quality music or very high quality shows, products that people were putting in the market. And that's also very true for us as a company, because I always talk about technology and data because that's my background, but GoToBeat wouldn't be able to be where it is without the team that we have. And when I say the team, I mean the knowledge of culture that they have. Is always a mix between data and culture. Data, they only tell 50% of the story. The other 50% is understanding the market, understanding the culture, understanding the trends, understanding what is really relevant. And so when an artist comes to us, yes, we look at the data, but also our team members, depending on their area of focus, they look at the artist and understand, okay, is this music relevant? Is it culturally interesting? Can I see this music becoming like impactful in the market? So there is that A&R kind of element to the job that you can't really replicate with technology. You can sustain it, you can make it better, you can optimize it, but the knowledge of culture and understanding of culture is extremely important. And so same goes with the artists. They can increase their followers on Instagram or their streams on Spotify, all these things, and that's absolutely necessary. They need to do it because otherwise they're also not taken seriously, or they're not able to reach the scale necessary for their music to connect with people, find the right people. So that's absolutely important. But ultimately, they need to focus on the quality of their music. Yeah.
I'm smiling because we've heard that a number of times from different people we've had on the podcast, is that, if you focus on your art and your creative abilities and you create a track or a piece of content that is truly brilliant, and you're consistent with that, over time, it will rise to the top. Like, a lot of people do believe that. And whether that's the algorithm supporting you or just generally people getting involved and loving what you do, I think it's so important. And the other thing you touched on there is the human element to what we're doing. Because again, so many people talk about AI, technology replacing humans, etc., but I was reading something around, the use of AI in A&R, and that has somewhat made A&R democratized, as in anyone can be an A&R now. They could log into an A&R dashboard, they could look at the data that suggests that this artist is the next one to blow, and they could sign them. But what that means is that taste is the moat. The human ability to understand culture, or whether something's really relevant to this niche, is actually coming back to being a powerful tool again. And I think we're in this AI cycle now where perhaps most people have adopted AI in business. I don't know if that's true, but people should have adopted AI in business. And actually then this human layer on top is going to set you apart from other people. Do you see that not just within the business world, but also in the music world, perhaps the artists that you're dealing with? Do you see that it's those that use AI as an assistive tool, perhaps, or even don't even use it at all in their creativity, but remain incredibly creative, are rising, to the top again? Yeah,
I mean, creativity is, like you said, the moat. It's really the core of an artist's career. I see artists leveraging AI or technology in general to help unlock even more creativity, right? So if you think about AI like replacing creativity, I mean, that, it might work on the short term, but that really doesn't have any long-term success. And I think now people realize that at first, the market was very scared with AI and generative AI in particular when it comes to replacing artists. I guess the market now is understanding that, yes, there's going to be more and more AI-generated tracks or whatever. Ultimately, the artists that are going to succeed are the ones that are going to use these as a tool, exactly like they use many other tools to produce their music, but come from a background of creativity and culture that makes them relevant regardless of the tool that they're using, right? And that's beautiful because, again, it confirms that the quality of the music, it really is what matters the most. Again, it's an annoying answer because sometimes we always look for the trick. What's the trick to become successful? Well, there's no trick. You need to be consistent, deliver a great service if you're building a company, a great product, music if you're a musician, and do it at the best you can over a long period of time, and eventually things will work out, or at least should work out. Sometimes life is tough, so maybe sometimes things don't work out, but maybe it was not meant to be. But yeah, essentially AI is a tool. It's what we deeply believe. AI is not going to replace jobs. It's not going to replace creativity. It's not going to replace any of these. Yeah, it might replace some jobs, that's for sure. But ultimately, I see it as a tool to make things better and unlock that potential that sometimes is buried into admin tasks or a lot of other noise that doesn't let you really build and be creative and be successful.
Yeah, it's so true. We've always seen AI as assistive, you know, or the AI that we work with anyway as assistive, and really the return on investment that we want to provide. And I think actually a lot of the things that you're working on as well is about giving artists back time, or managers and labels back time.
Exactly.
So they can focus on the creative elements that they love focusing on, that are so important. And whilst we're talking about artists, and you touched on this earlier, is about, you know, compensation, you know, and making sure artists get paid for the shows they're doing, and, you know, other ticketing providers or platforms that are taking huge fees or potentially exploiting artists, you coming in and sort of, I don't want to say saving the day, but being the platform that should be there and is fair. Can you give any sort of specific examples, perhaps I'm putting you on the spot here, seeing if you really know your business, but of where, you know, artists have come to you and they've earned, you know, twice the amount that they should have earned previously? Do you have some specifics?
Yeah, so on average, artists with us, they earn around 40% more than a traditional event organizer. And that's because we are able to reduce the cost of a show, which means that the pot of money left to give back to the artist is bigger. But also because we do sell more tickets for those artists. You know, with all the data and marketing that we do, we are able to identify the right audience and really target the right audience for that artist, as well as doing a lot of smart recommendation internally, because now we have, you know, hundreds of thousands of ticket buyers that went through GoToBeat. So artists, they do make more money with us. But ultimately, the main value that they see is the how easy it is to work with us, right? Yeah. Artists, they go on tour, and sometimes, you know, going on tour for an artist could be a massive loss, a massive headache. You know, people think, okay, artists go on tour because that's how they make money. No, sometimes they go on tour and they lose a lot of money, and they also lose a lot of time and that they could have spent on something else. So when they work with us, they really see de-risking going on tour. So they know that they're going to make more money. They know that they're going to play in front of rooms that are going to be full. They know that they're not going to lose money if things don't go according to plan, because they're going to go according to plan. So that's really the main value that they see. Of course, they want to make more money. That's the whole point of our company. We want to make artists more money, not because we think they are greedy, but because they need to reinvest in their career and build a sustainable career. But ultimately, it's also back to the time and ease of use of working with us. Yeah.
And so artists make 40% more. Yeah. They save a ton of time because they get access to this tooling. They can reach new audiences. What's the challenge? You know, what's the thing that you're struggling with the most at the moment in onboarding artists? Because for me, it's a no-brainer, right? As if you're an artist and you want to, I guess, own more of the pie that you should be owning, you go to GoToBeat. Yeah.
It's about scale, and it's about being able to keep up with the growth of our artists, in the sense that we built a very scalable business. We're doing over 1,000 shows all across Europe. Every time we achieve a new milestone, we unlock another one, right? So we've been for many years very good at organizing those 500-ish capacity shows. Now we're doing the 3,000, 10,000 capacity shows. When you work with those artists, of course, they are used to work with much more established companies, right? Those companies, they are able to offer them different opportunities in different markets. So yes, we do offer a much stronger service, but also we work in an industry where the bar is very high, and the existing relationship that artists have are very strong. So it's not, you know, that from a day to another you change your entire team that has been working on your career. So when it comes to entry-level artists moving the first baby steps, well, yeah, we are 100%, the promoter of choice. Those artists also are artists that, sometimes grow extremely fast. And we had examples of artists working with us last year. They were doing 500 capacity shows, and now they go and do arena tours.
Wow.
And they stay with us. So, back to us being the strongest and best partners for them, they recognize it and they stay with us even when they scale. But when we approach bigger artists, of course, we have more competition. We need to become stronger as a company in the sense that financially stronger as well, in the sense that we can put down more money to put those artists on bigger tours in bigger markets and all. But we are seeing this becoming easier and easier every day. So we're not concerned. Rome was not built in a day, right? So we know that we have the strongest product. Now we need to keep working on relationship and go to market. Sometimes having the best product doesn't mean you're going to have success or the best outcome. Product is, 50% of the job. The other 50% is relationship, go to market and all. So we are working very hard to keep deploying that across different markets, to keep establishing GoToBeat as a strong player. We work in an industry where relationships matter more than anything else. So we want to earn the trust of agents or artist manager and all. That takes time. And we're not concerned with that. As long as we see everything moving in the right direction every day, we know we're doing something good, and we know that eventually we'll get there.
Yeah.
And if we do it as fast as we're doing it, then even better.
Yeah. I love to hear the speed. I love to hear that the speed's so important. I was at an investor event and they were talking about the importance of speed now. Yeah. And, I think it's great to see that you have that momentum behind you. And I sort of want to pause there because I want to share something that I'm hearing from you, which I think is inspiring for artists, founders, entrepreneurs, whatever, which is, you started a restaurant having no experience, I don't think, in catering or hospitality. You started a media business with no experience in media. You then talked about GoToBeat and how you started that with no experience in music tech. And then you talked about how, you're serving different types of artists, and the challenges are new challenges that you've never experienced before, that, the expectations are different. And this is, for me, something I wanted to share around just like putting yourself in those situations, and having the confidence to say, I can figure this out, and I think that's such an important message to share for those artists who are perhaps sitting on a track that they've sat on for the last 2 years and they're like, I don't know if I want to put it out or not. Just put it out. Yeah. And the same, if you want to start something, try it. We're in a world now where you could build something on Base 44 or Lovable and put it out into the world and get some feedback immediately and iterate and go from there. So I think for me, this conversation so far has epitomized that sort of mindset that I think is quite rare, actually, but is a message to people to say, like, go and give it a go.
Yeah, don't overthink. Also because 90% of the planning and preparation you do is gonna be for nothing, because when you go in the market, you realize that everything you plan or strategize before, it's not fit with reality. It doesn't work, and so you need to redo everything from scratch multiple times to try and find what in startups now we call product market fit, or at least trying to get some traction. So, yeah, I always say ideas are overrated. Everybody has brilliant ideas. I have millions of ideas every day. What really matters is execution, and go out and do these things. And not be afraid of making mistakes. I'm in rooms every day where I'm definitely not prepared to be in that room, but I'm still in that room and I'm trying my best to figure things out. Sometimes I do well. Some other times I fuck up, but at least I'm there. Yeah. And every day I get better. Every day I learn something. Failures are not problem. We fail every day. The important thing is to learn from your failures, right? And become better every day, whether you're an artist, an entrepreneur, or a father, or whatever. And and just try and give it a go. Yeah, easy.
Easy. And what
can go wrong?
Yeah,
Worst case, you lose your job or you lose your company. Yeah, you go work somewhere else.
Yeah. I agree. I think we share that in that. I feel like there's no downside. You know, we can always pick ourselves back up. But what guides your focus? And I ask you that because for me, one of my biggest challenges is focus, for sure. Is that there are so many things coming at me from different angles. I use the Eisenhower matrix to try and organize it and, you know, focus on top left and top right sometimes. But it's hard to know what you should be focusing on and to get that right such that it's going to have the biggest impact on the business. Same from an artist perspective. You know, there are so many things that they could be focusing on. How do you align your focus on the right thing?
Yeah, for me, for us as a company, it's having clarity of what are the main metrics that can drive the business forward, as well as what are the main values that we go by, right? So every time we make a decision, it's like, okay, can this decision have an impact on the metrics that we care about?
Yeah.
And is this decision aligned with the values that we have? Easier said than done, of course, as usual, because there is a lot of shiny objects every day coming to you and you want to grab them all. But being disciplined at deciding where to focus your time and energy is absolutely the number one priority for a founder, for an artist. Artists essentially are founders of their own companies, right? So they need to focus on what really they think moves the needle. And sometimes it could be follower growth, although we can argue that's not really a strong metric, but you pick a metric, whatever, and focus on that. So at least, you know, over a period of time of, say, 1, 2, 6 months, whatever it's going to be, you have been focusing on that, you have been working towards that metric, and if things don't work out, well, at least you can confidently say, that metric was the wrong metric, I'll move to something else. But at least you learned something precisely, and you achieved something, even if you fail, but you achieved that knowledge. It's very a scientific approach. I always say you come up with your hypotheses, you test them out, you need to focus on that, you test them out. If they work, great. If they don't work, at least you've learned something, you try something else. Like I said, easier said than done. Every morning I take a shower, I have a million ideas that I would like to go to the office and tell the team, and then I force myself not to tell them. Because another thing I've learned is that your company can absorb a set number of new information at any given time, right? Mm-hmm. So your job as a founder is not to overflow and give too many information to your team all at once, because they're not going to be able to absorb them, and that clearly is going to have a detrimental effect if that happens. So you want to make sure you only share what is really useful without giving too many information all at once, or too many new ideas, too many new tasks all at once. And you want to build an organization that is able over time to process more and more new ideas, more and more new tasks. Yeah. But ultimately, focus is everything. Pick the right metrics, stick to those for a period of time. If you see things working, great. Otherwise, you change, but at least you know that you have achieved something, you have tested something. Yeah,
agreed. I think being led by a key business metric, or a North Star metric is really important. And for us, it's about aligning with the mission, the vision, the values as well. Is this building for the artist in the mirror, which is one of our values, and I think has been a great guiding light for us. And what's interesting about what you said there is I'm of a similar thought process in that we'll share the right things with the wider business to make sure that everyone stays motivated and is focused, but there are certain things that you just need to absorb yourself. But what was interesting, I spoke to another founder, brilliant founder, young woman, based in the US, who has a great business, and she had the opposite approach. Okay. And she she shared everything. She shared P&L, she shared cash flow. She was like, we're running out of money, guys, who's with me, blah blah blah. And she said that really worked for her. But I think one thing that I realized is that that's how she hired as well. So that's how she started her business, that's how she hired, and so that's the theme that she was able to carry through. Whereas I think for me in my business, that's not how I've started it, and so it's a slightly different approach. But that made me think that there are probably certain people who work better in with different pressures and knowing different amounts of information. I know for my team, I don't think that would work, but yeah.
No, exactly. I guess it depends how you build your company. When I say that we don't have to overshare, I don't mean, of course, that we need to hide important information from the team or lie to the team.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what can destroy a company. You want to have people that are fully committed to what you're doing, because back to what is important in a company, you know, you can have the best product, you can have the best go-to-market, whatever, but if you don't have the best team, you don't go anywhere, right? So you want to make sure you have people that are fully committed, and I think alignment and sharing information is the way to get people fully committed. I'm just saying I want to make sure I do that at the right time, because another big thing I've learned is that it might be like GoToBeat, my company might be 100% everything for me, but it's not necessarily everything for my employees. Even the top employees that care a lot about the company, even the ones that are with me since day one, maybe they have equity in the company and all, but there's always going to be like a disparity, and it's good that it's like that. It's healthy, but there's always going to be a disparity between how you feel about the company, how they feel about the company. Yeah. So you want to make sure you protect them. You don't want to lie to them, absolutely. Thankfully, we've never been in a position to run out of money, but if we ever get to that position, I would be very open with the team and tell them and say, hey guys, this is what is going to happen. This is the decision that we're going to be making to turn things around. Who's with me? Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a fine balance, and you know, there's not a one size fits all, right? It works for us like this. It works maybe for this other founder in a different way. The important thing is to be respectful with the team and show them that you trust them. And I always say we need to lead by example. So I'm always 100% all in the team, in the business, so they know that I have their back, and they trust me. That's the most important thing. Everything else will follow, should follow at least. Yeah.
And I think trusting the gut is something that I've learned as well, is that there were times, especially when I first, Unhurd's my first business. And so when I first started for the first couple of years, is my gut sometimes was telling me something that I was ignoring, because maybe this person has more experience than I do or whatever it might be. But I learned over time that actually, like, trust your gut, push that instinct, because ultimately I think, if we're going to fail, we've got to fail the way in which we wanted to try and do this.
Exactly. And also every experience is unique. I mean, I built another business before. Doesn't mean I know more things than you do. Like every time you start from scratch, every situation is different. Ultimately, nobody knows what they're doing, right? We're all trying to figure it out, whether you are 20 years old or 50 years old, whether you are CEO of $1 billion company or just a scrappy startup. Nobody really, I think at least, that's how I see life. Nobody really knows what they're doing. Yeah. We're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to do our best. We just need to be smart and sharp and put great energy, great focus in it. But we're all trying to figure things out.
And I think actually that maybe plays into the mindset that we talked about before, is that I think if you can drop the ego, realize that actually no one really knows what's going on. We're just giving it our best shot and trying to figure it out. I think there's sort of a beauty and a lightness in that feeling as well, in a way. Yeah. Okay, a couple of questions that I love to finish on is, if you were going to start the business again today, I guess with the advent of AI as aggressively adopted as it has been, with the way that we see the world now, would you do anything differently?
I would definitely focus more early on building relationships with the music industry. So if we want to talk specifically about GoToBeat, like I said, you can have the best product, but and that's true for any industry, not only for the music industry, but since we're talking about the music one, relationships with people that can open doors for you, they can really speed up the growth of your business massively. And I've always said the approach of being the hacker kind of thing, right? Like behind my laptop, hacking things, and things will work out. You read stories of big successes in certain cases, but the reality is that also when you want to build a business that is so connected to real life events or other people, like in like the music one, you want to have those strong relationships. So I would have invested more. I would invest more on that. And I think I would do differently probably is we GoToBeat. So Blasting News, my first business, we did raise money, and since day one, and that was the path we took. GoToBeat, there was an initial period of time where I didn't want to raise any money. I want to bootstrap the business completely, and we did it for some time. And then I decided to raise money to scale much faster because things were going extremely well. I think I was a little bit in a limbo between will I raise or will I not raise? I should have just gone directly and raise and be more decisive on what I wanted to do. Or I should have just say, hey, this is a bootstrap business and that's what I'm going to do. But for live specifically, capital is important. Yeah. You need to have the ability to make certain offers and to artists and really have the financial stability. And if you want to grow quickly, you need to have that capital in the bank. So raising money maybe is something I would have done sooner.
Okay, and do you know what? I love that answer because it's a human answer. Again, yeah. It's the importance of relationships and network. And again, I think the longer I go on this journey, the more I realise it's all about people. And whether that's the team that you have who are driving the business forward whilst you're hosting a podcast, or whether it's the investor that invested in you but opened 3 or 4 doors or introduced you to other investors, it's all about people. Actually, I missed out an important person there, which is the artists. If we didn't have the artists, we wouldn't have a business. So it's, it's all about people. Yeah. And my second question was, when you started, what was the one milestone you wanted to achieve which would represent success? Have you made it? And if you have, has that shifted now?
So the number one milestone was to grow outside of London. In a meaningful way, because we started the business in London, because London is the most competitive market in live music, and we say, okay, if we make it here, we'll make it anywhere. And so for us was, okay, have we made it enough in London that we can go outside of London? And that happened last year, and we started growing outside of London. Now we have team members all around the UK. And we operate essentially all around the UK. And then after that, the goal was, okay, can we expand in Europe? So we did it, and now we're in 16 different European countries. The next milestone next year will be, can we go to the US? So it was always like geographical expansion milestones, let's say. Of course, we had different milestones in terms of developing the products, getting to very high accuracy with our predictions, streamlining all the operations with agentic AI, all these things. But those were like tactical things. The goal was always, okay, can we reach the scale that allow us to go outside of our initial market? And I think we did it to a certain extent. But as we know, the journey is very long. So yeah, now we do over 1,000 shows a year, but the goal is to do 10x those number of shows, and then it's going to be another 10x and 10x. Yeah. So we're working hard to make it as fast as possible. Speed matters is one of our core values. We have a set of core values in the office hung on the wall, and speed matters is one of them because. When we work with artists, they do expect us to be on top of things. When we work internally with our team members, they do expect us to be on top of things and move fast. And also, I truly believe that as a small company, speed is your number one competitive advantage. The reason why we're able to take market share from all of those other established promoters is because they move so slow. Yeah. So speed really matters. And these are the milestones. And the same time, we're always, I kind of look at the glass always half empty. So yeah, we reach those milestones, but doesn't make it necessarily better or doesn't make me happy necessarily because the next challenge is right around the corner.
That is a problem that I think maybe most people have, but definitely most founders that I meet, it's like, they don't celebrate the little wins and it's on to the next. But ultimately that's what drives your business forward. So I think it's good to have that sort of a little tap on the shoulder, but off to the next.
Exactly.
And to be honest, I'm excited for you guys to get into the US. You know, I think that's going to be a huge milestone. You're going to have a huge impact over there, you know, and I'm sure it'll take your business from a successful, fast-growing business to hopefully a unicorn, let's see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, we are very excited as well. We have American artists coming here, playing shows in London, and they ask us to help them there as well. So it's going to be a very natural expansion for us. It's not going to happen this year. It's going to be for later next year, but that's definitely one of the goals. And yeah, we're excited.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Max. Really appreciate you joining us. Like, follow, subscribe on this podcast if you've enjoyed it. And Max, good luck.
Well, thank you very much.